Star is still alive. Ritual still alive. Even Okis is up right now. Saw him mixed in the feed. Those are a few of the NA competitors that are up. I do wonder, where is Yamzo? As he was also inside the top 10. If teams can continue to keep up that pacing there. But meanwhile, the story right now is how far can Seti push this here? That's it. Rocket Ram usage out. 45. Make that 49 damage above the surge now. Halfway through material. This is a tough spot to be in. Here's Yamzo's look. Mid to high ground here. Moving all the way across. Beautifully done. And clean execution on the rotate here. He actually takes down Middle Eastern's hero there. So that was that second to high ground team. And now they just have to deal with Queasy and Vino. If they can do just that, they will be the kings of the top.
It's almost like dealing with a final boss at this point as far as Queasy and Veno are concerned. But so long as they're in the match, teams are going to have to look out. Cole, though, with Acorn, doing an excellent job taking out Sphinx and Pollo. That's going to clear things up for them as far as these immediate part players are concerned. Seti, though, again, the fact that he is still kicking, despite being a solo for so long here, MDF, what a fantastic display of his experience.
I just can't wait till we get another listen in later, because you know Cammy and Seti are putting down the comms needed here to navigate through this game so effortlessly, making it look easy. Meanwhile, on the low ground, here's Middle East. Fahad here, representing 4 Elims right now. What a big spot to be in, showing us just how good they really are. And let's again not forget, this is the Global's best tier. Joining us for the upper bracket, you had to perform in the upper tier of the 50 to be here today. Kanata falls inside the top 16 there. Very far push for him, but not good enough.
Yamzo and Rise just doing such a great job leading the charge on the low ground at the front side of the zone. Just doing their best to cut off everybody that keeps trying to traverse into their territory. As now Yeman will meet the same fate as so many others so far. Seti, though, still managing to carve his way through, but running so incredibly low, only has 8 builds, make that 6 left to his name, hoping that he can find a straggling refresh anywhere.
The one who's gonna find that refresh is Fahad. He finds Okis there straggling in the distance, but hold up, here's Reed. No ritual in sight by himself. We already seen him do it once. He clutches up, goes in and takes down Pars. Once friends, now enemies here on the stage. Meanwhile, Seti says, hold up, you want hype for free? Not when I'm in the lobby. Down goes Girus, and a quick trade there, but Shari comes to the rescue here for his teammate, and he is the new king of hype for a second, but Acorn Cold, representing for NA. Not known for the big Elans, but so far the placement point's exactly where you expect it to be. Here's Yamzo. Yamzo, clap from the side here. Rise left to do it by himself. He cannot flirt with the storm here. Acorn's clutching at the moment.
Acorn's trying to do what he can. He's got that auto Maven primed and ready, but at the same time, even with the Maven auto, he's not going to be able to miss a singular shot. He has hardly any HP to work with, and you consider the shield that he's missing. He's doing a great job so far. Just continuing by time. Only 1 build left, though. This next moment has to be his best. Quixie doesn't see it coming as Acorn finds the elimination he needs. Just enough builds to keep going up.
Absolutely clean elimination there. Shari now looking for it. They have 9 eliminations. Acorn goes all the way up. Needs to come on down. Knows where his opponent is, and he's looking for him. But the zone is ticking, gets right into it. He knows he's got a couple opportunities here. It's all or nothing now. 1 shot will be it, but no, it won't be enough. Still, though, 4 eliminations in a second place there. And Shari take home the second game now alongside Girus.
Seti nearly playing smartly there for Shari and Girus, but even with Seti having eliminated Girus, Shari doing a phenomenal job to clutch things up. And we've got Frankie standing by to get into their minds.
That was quite the performance. How did you feel in those final moments of that game?
Great.
And what was going through your mind? Because you had an American flying up into the air, getting the information on you, but you had the better health in the situation. How do you feel clutching in front of all of these people?
Amazing.
Amazing. That's a perfect word. Let me come over to you, Girus. What was it like watching Cherry in that situation?
Yeah, it was great. I mean,
anyway, like in this final situations, I already knew we have so many points. We are already like basically quad, so I was just chilling, and I believed in him. I knew he will win it.
I love this vote of confidence. We're basically qualified 2 games in. So are you already thinking about Sunday?
Not yet, but yeah, I mean, I think we are quad, so let's like maybe keep focused on Sunday, right?
Absolutely, but also focus on the next 3 games, because obviously you want all of these duos to fear you. What sets you apart from the competition?
I think that good strategy, good communication in duo. Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, we definitely saw the strategy pay off. But congratulations on the victory, Royale. Geras and Cherry, everyone!
Man, oh man, to compete on this stage in and of itself is an honor. But to get a victory royale in a circumstance like this with a crowd this electric, that is something else.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, these guys land in that sort of area, so it was very much a home zone for them, but they made it count. We've seen teams that haven't had that sort of zone luck, you could say, actually pop off, but these guys, they made it count when they did get the zone.
Yeah, and not only did they grab that victory royale, but they did it with double-digit eliminations. Yeah. I did not expect to see that so early on in the competition. They pretty much were grabbing eliminations as soon as the game started, and by Zone 8, they had 4 eliminations, but they were able to kind of hold that low ground for so long and clean up the rest of the lobby. They deserve their PR.
It was a battle of solos there in the end as well. I think I saw 5 solos right there at the end, all battling it out. And that's what we love to see from this. It's solos clutching up on the big stage, and that's really, really not easy. So great job from Chari to make it happen.
Well, if we're going to talk about solos clutching up, then we got to talk about Seti.
Yeah,
my goodness.
Course.
From the start, I mean, we saw them go down early in Game 1. We knew that they needed to do something a little different in Game 2. We've got to watch their drop where they went for the window of that barn in Frenzy Field. And it looked like they had a pretty easy 50-50 there. But Cammy did end up going down in that fight. And they were able to make it come back against Datus and Stain. But then, not too much later, we saw Fastroki and Kylie trying to go for them as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Pink also was starting to try and make their way down, but then said, oh wait, no, that's Seti and Cammy. I'm gonna turn around right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we saw Seti in that endgame. This was crazy. He tried to go for height. That was just solo.
Right.
This guy's crazy.
Like, he was like, you know, he's like an autopilot, high ground. I mean, oh no.
I think
I'm on my own.
Honestly, I think it was a great play. I think that there was so much chaos going on in the low ground that they weren't expecting anyone to try and take high ground. Seti positioned himself just on the side. You can see that they weren't aware of that Seti was going to be coming in onto them and grabbing that one elimination. It did eventually lead to his, you know, demise, but he was still able to grab 4 more points as well as kind of weaken the other players in the lobby.
Yeah, I did want to highlight a couple things for us. First, in that #1 spot, Rich and Ritual. Whoa!
That's the one.
I'll come back to him in just a second, but just as a reminder, Sherry and Gidas, and I'm sorry if I'm Shari if I'm mispronouncing the name. I'll see myself.
Shari!
I'm so sorry.
Can we get someone else on the desk?
Yeah, can we get Mini Minor, you take over.
Yeah.
Still, though, a huge victory royale from the duo, and I kind of just love the way they kind of play this, right? You can kind of tell, even just after these 2 games, these games are so hectic. They're not anything like the games we're used to seeing, right? A lot of these other regions, NA and EU, we broadcast, you can see, like, even though there's chaos, there's a lot of control, right? It's like, okay, well, I know we're going to do this, and we'll position ourselves. In these last 2 games, it's just chaos, right? Either no build or everyone's on mad low HP where everyone is one shot to the other. In this case, coming down to the 1v1, it is so hectic on this stage.
I mean, in this situation, we've talked about it almost seemingly all year. When Queasy and Veno aren't on height in that endgame, it's anybody's game. We saw Seti trying to spoil the party up there for Chari and Giras on height. He didn't quite do that, but he did take out one of them. And of course, that was Giras, so Chari had to solo clutch from high ground. Of course, that's what's going to win them these games. We're seeing it time and time again. High ground is going to win these teams the games. And because Queasy and Veno weren't there, the high ground was a lot more free.
It was indeed. But I do want to talk about the duo that we were looking at for just a moment there, Reet and Ritual.
Yeah, so here we go, Kelly. All right.
Listen, all right, they're doing a very good job right now. That might be why they're in first place. And they're utilizing everything that competitive Fortnite has to offer, such as Rift Island, getting those 15 points. And that is actually what's going to be pushing them into that first place spot. But also, look at the placements. They are currently tied with Cold and Acorn, who are some of the most consistent players in the world.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, there was always a moment there where they were boxing up below that Rift Island. They were like, I mean, nobody's going up for it. Is anyone here? I guess that's our island. We'll take it. So that's what we like to see. I mean, yeah, that's what Reese all about. He's one of those players that will play it smartly. Of course, we've seen so much aggression from them, even in this endgame. There are so many moments of that. I think this is what makes competitive Fortnite in person so great, is that when Reese makes these crazy plays hopping in the box, you can feel the energy, you can feel the crowd just go, wow. How has he gone about that? And that's what he's all about.
But we can't take Ritual. I mean, he's doing a great job as well. He actually had more eliminations than Reet there. He did go down, but you know Reet is not going to go down without a fight, even as a solo here, grabbing some much-needed refreshes and being able to kind of bully the low ground here.
I love this playstyle, right? He's almost fearless. We actually saw something very similar from Baka and Pars in the last game, right? One of them dropping down to 1 HP, but it's the confidence. It's like, it doesn't matter what situation we're in. We just have to go for it. If we're eliminated, that's fine, but let's go for it. Now, Reet making that work is wild. And I think, especially for him, he's someone that for a long time, especially when it was NA East, NA West, he kept saying things like, I want to go up against these other regions because I want to prove that I have what it takes to compete.
I mean, what a better place to do it, right? He's making the crowd happy. He's making us happy, making the team happy in first place spot as well. Right there at the end, we saw the player actually going for the med miss. He said, no, you're not having that med miss. I'm going to be straight in there. And the reaction from the crowd was so cool at that moment.
Well, I already mentioned them, but Acorn and Cold also had a great performance as well. And I mean, I love to see NA on top. Minnie, what's going on?
I mean, NA on top here, this is a difficult one for them. But, you know, I like the way they've adapted their play style. And, of course, they're doing very, very well at the moment. We can see this going through in this later stage of the game. I think there was a moment in this end game where they were trying to look up for that high ground. Didn't quite happen for them. But these mid to low ground layers is what they're known for. It's what they did so great in Major number 1. And as I said earlier, they've actually adapted their drop spot. Levin said it so well in that mid-game segment. We saw them actually going further away from Pink and Vico, which is something that I didn't expect to happen. I thought they'd just go for a full-on 50-50. It's day one. Why not? And of course, it's working out for them. And Acorn doing such a great job solo clutching. We've seen him do it before, and he's done it again.
Such a clean elimination there, and you know that they're feeling good going into game number 3 and 3rd spot. And at some point, I mean, looking at the points and kind of calculating it, maybe our top 3 have kind of already solidified themselves into grand finals. Obviously, crazy things can happen, right? I mean, we've seen our top teams be eliminated on drop, so that might not be solidified just yet, but still, they have to be feeling even more confident going into the next 3 games.
Absolutely. And, you know, we have thoughts and perspectives. We actually have Vivid standing by with community favorite Reddish. Viv, what's she have to say?
I told you guys I was going to be coming from the lounge throughout the weekend. This time around, we have Reddish joining us, a fantastic creator in the Fortnite space. And she told me that this is actually her first time experiencing an event as a fan. So tell us all, how has it been experiencing the Global Championship so far?
For the last 3 years, but as you said, first time watching an audience, it feels incredible. I'm seated right now.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. We actually have to go back to the desk, so we're going to toss that back to Zeke and the crew.
Don't worry. I will
the mic.
find a way to talk with you soon. Don't you worry, Reddish. Don't you worry. Man, this has been such an incredible start to the day. The first 2 games of the Global Championships, especially in the upper bracket. Kelly, you said something that interested me. You talked about these top 3 and how they potentially might have already qualified, right?
Right.
What we saw kind of out of Queasy and Venda was they had this strong start. And it's like, okay, well, remember, top 25, what do those points look like? After one good game, a duo could very well just qualify, right? They might just need a good game with a couple VR, or a couple eliminations, rather, and it might be just enough.
It definitely might. I think for now, these teams that are in this sort of top 5, top 3, realistically, you have to think that they have got it in the bag. But as you mentioned, Z, anything can happen. They've got to keep their foot on the gas, because not only is it really, really good to, of course, be at the top of the leaderboard, it's also really, really good practice. Really good to be in this environment. What are these other teams from these other regions going to do? Because who knows? Come Sunday, it could be anyone's game.
Well, we're talking about foot on the gas. We got to talk about Cammy and Seti there, going up 21 placements, obviously, going down early in game number 1. That's going to put them in the 2nd page of our lobby list. But we got to talk about Seti using the rocket ram once again. That seems to be where the utilization of this rocket ram is going. Launching high into the sky, seeing where the rest of the lobby is. I love this. And yes, by having the rocket ram, you see that a lot of these teams are foregoing that third heal, which can be incredibly beneficial. But it just has so much more utilization than I think I initially thought.
And it just shows how good this duo are individually. We talk about them so often as Kami and Seti as a collective, but we have to remember these guys are both incredibly talented players as solos. We've seen them in DreamHacks come first and second, and they're just like a duo that have just decided to play in that solo event. So that's what we love to see from this duo, and I like to see the fact that we can have trust in Seti, trust in Kami to clutch up in the big moments, because they're not going to be nervous.
And you know what else we have trust in? Queasy and Vino going for height.
Of course. If it's not them, it's the others. There's so much more.
Yeah.
Now, I promised you an interview with Reddish. We're going back to Vivid in the Creator Lounge. Let's do this.
And we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I accidentally did too far of a mic drop earlier. I ended up breaking the microphone. But I'll introduce her again. It's going to be Reddish, a fantastic creator in the Fortnite scene. And like I was saying, this is actually her first time out at an event, being a fan. So let us all know how it has been experiencing the Global Championship.
It's been phenomenal. I was saying earlier, but you didn't hear it, that I've been watching every single FNCS for like the last 3 years, I think. But this is my first time watching from an audience. I couldn't make it to the US last time. And it's been crazy. I'm sitting right next to Gentlemates, the French people, and they go crazy. Every 2 minutes, the audience goes crazy. And also, I have to mention the first game as a GXR supporter was pretty wild. We had Malibuka win off spawn and claim the island, and then Queasy won. So it's been just amazing to watch as a fan and supporter and Fortnite lover. So, yep.
Yeah, awesome. I love the fact that you're kind of bringing up who's been doing well throughout the day. Of course, this is the upper bracket. We have 25 teams going directly into the finals after the day. Give us a couple names that you think are going to be, towards the top of that leaderboard after the end of the day.
We still have a few games left, so I have a feeling almost everyone kind of still has a chance.
True.
But yeah, GXR on top. I hope Queasy and Malibuka will do it. Hopefully I didn't just jinx them. And I don't know, so many teams are doing amazing. We have Cold and Acorn, Pink and Vico, Seti and Kami, they're making a little comeback. So it's super exciting to see who's gonna make it in the end. But all of them are amazing. Super talented at this video game.
Yeah, awesome. And for anybody that would love to check out your content, Reddish, let them know where they can find you.
Reddish on Twitch, or I'm Reddish on Twitter.
There it is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Reddish, for the insight. And we're going to be tossing it back to the desk with Zeke and the crew.
Thank you so much. Reddish, you're fantastic as always. Now, as we kind of draw closer to the next game start, we kind of wanted to highlight a couple things. Really quickly, Miniminder, you kind of called this out for us, and I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about it. Zago and Peppleclip, they had a very interesting Storm Surge strategy in that last game.
Yeah, they did. And I think this just encapsulates what LAN events and global events are all about. We never know what these other smaller regions could be pulling out of the hat when it comes to strategy. And what I saw there in that end game was actually, or that mid game actually today, Zago and Peppo actually got a knock. They were able to carry the body towards some of the slurp mushrooms, keep healing the player on those slurp mushrooms, which of course that benefits them because they can keep tagging up the player to get some more Storm Surge damage. We've seen Storm Surge have such a big impact so far in these first 2 games, and if you don't have enough damage, it's going to result in your elimination. That's what I really like to see from this. Those guys pulling out strategies I haven't seen before. Just keeping on healing up the player. I love it.
Leave it to Peppo and Zago to do that. And also leave it to Queasy and Vino, who had a pretty good strategy as well early on to get those Storm Surge tags. We actually saw a sniper on their loadout, which is not something that we typically see. People tend to go for the twin mag. And then they also had 2 different spots for their splashes there. So by having more than, I think it was around 10 splashes, being able to not just heal, but also rotate quickly, which is part of the reason why we saw them be able to set themselves up for success towards the end game. And I say that as Queasy goes down, but still, being able to make it all the way there is going to get them those much needed placement points.
Yeah, trying to get Venom to clutch twice in a row, it's a bit harsh, isn't
True,
it? No, you can't do it again, surely. But no, I like to see
He's
that.
just waiting till Sunday.
Yeah, he's waiting. He's putting it all in the tank. He brought it out in game 1. But no, not a bad game at all. We're still trying to set up for what we're expected to see from them. Let's see if they can continue.
That's right. I'm excited to see game number 3. So let's kick it on over to our casters to take us in.
Thank you so much, Zeke. And that's right. Game number 3, nearly ready for these players to hop off the battle bus. But Monster, we've been seeing some pretty interesting things so far throughout the first 2 games. And hold that thought to the game, because the battle bus is good to go. Match number 3, right here.
we heard you make some noise. It sounds like you are ready for game number 3. I am too. Remember, there are only 5 rounds of Fortnite here today, so this will officially solidify the halfway mark. To start things off, though, we have to begin here at the Frenzy Farms. Cammy, Seti versus Datus and Stain. We've seen this go either way. We know that Kylix is nearby as well. Kyrie here, so you got to be careful. Meanwhile, Kick gets the weapon first. He's looking for the tag, and they're doing a great job. They actually have the left and rights here.
Buying just a little bit of time here. Seti also, a couple of weapons at his disposal. Tactical DMR, Infiltrator Pump as well. Stain trying to do his best to pressure from the bottom of this barn. It's going to be Stain actually eliminated first. A nice tag team appearance there from Cammy to get the backup necessary. And that's going to be Stain and Datus eliminated yet again so early on, and we're already in game 3.
Yeah, this time extremely quick. They secure the eliminations here. Meanwhile, 7 men and Cal Gamer versus King potentially unfolding here. I do know Kanata is battling as well. It seems like he was taken down and eliminated by a different duo. So we are already seeing a very huge mix-up. Meanwhile, King, he will show you why he is one of the best. Let's not forget what Cal Gamer had to say. He said himself that he does not believe King has what it takes. He thinks King is a bit overrated, but I beg to differ. We have seen what he can do in person. We have seen what he can do in just clean head-to-heads in a box fight type environment. He's incredible.
It's literally what King established his name on, was his prowess when it comes to box fight match opportunities. And here again, King looking for his chance to take down Cal Gamer. Cal Gamer actually going to look for a brief retreat here, though, at the Relentless Retreat.
I like it.
Seems as though he wants to try and look for some better weaponry, or possibly even just looking for a different position altogether.
Yeah, upgrade would be important and massive there, especially since he's running out of material there. The shotgun. Meanwhile, Zagu, Peppo, they have not getting in the finish. That's going to be a big mess up. Big mistake, big opportunity lost, but Zagu finds another tag here. Meanwhile, looking for the big opener. Another one there. Okay, chipping away, but nothing significant this time.
That is massive, though, for Skitz and Sora, that Skitz was actually able to find that revive in the heat of it all. Is now Peppo, Zagu. Few Shieldbreaker EMPs. Curious to see what Zagu actually chooses to do with these. He's going to opt to try and maybe apply some more pressure onto Skitz and Sora with them, or if he's just going to hold them for the time being. But Skitz, now fully aware of the fact that Zagu is trying to break down his wall, continuing to replace build after build. Skitz with the peak, Zagu with the damage taken. It's going to be Skitz and Sora still looking to try and capitalize on this circumstance.
Now be careful, though, backing themselves up into an indestructible corner. And you can hear the crowd really starting to turn up right now.
Big augment, though, that was just picked up. That rarity check could go crazy, depending on how. I believe it was Skitz that might have opted for it. Saw him, one of those common weapons. Zagu, back to full shield, though, but did have to expend both of those big pots, and this battle's taken quite some time. Business turret quickly taken out. And Zagu tried to place there, pressure on Skitz.
Oh, I think he's going to be feeling really confident after that one, but Zagu now completely out of material here. He does have to be careful. His teammate finds a little bit too, so Peppo goes in, fully boxes up. It's all going to come down to hitting the shots, and he does. Zagu showing us why he is one of the best. Coming directly out of the region of Asia, representing all the way for Japan, and my oh my. Take a look now with Kylie and Bastroki. Man, they're just mixing things up.
Constant trades for the most part, but for Strokey and Kylie here at Stevie Springs, south side of the map seems to be working out relatively well for them so far, having that elimination already, and now that's going to alleviate a decent amount of pressure here for Strokey and Kylie. They don't necessarily need to fully push in just yet. They can really wait to see how they want to actually choose to try and reapproach here, but they're not the only team to mix things up a bit, as now Misha and Teeny just above Bryce and Chubbs. they might be looking for an opportunity to find an Elim or two here.
This is pretty interesting because Tina and Misha definitely have been having a tough time against Baka and Pars, but Bryce and Chubbs have been jumping in that battle as well. It has been a three-way engagement here at the Shady Stilts and around. So Tina and Misha trying to mix it up, saying, all right, what can we do different? How can we adapt here? Clearly, they made it to the upper bracket, right? But having a tough time so far. Might be looking like a Saturday appearance if they can't turn up soon.
Meanwhile, Miro might be stuck in an engagement against Shari is, well, a forced retreat actually. Cooper, very accurate. Some of those twin mag shots. Miro leading the charge up against his solo. And it seems like it's only a matter of seconds before Shari is completely collapsed upon, doing everything in his power to try and stay alive just one moment longer to see if there's somewhere that he can build off to actually scurry away and escape. But Cooper and Miro, they are relentless. They refuse to let this opportunity go. And it's going to be another 4 points by the way of Elim as they finally close out on Shari.
You got to respect that right there. Cooper all the way with the initial opener and then the call out, setting up Miro for successes. He said, hey, look, they're one. Trust me. Miro with no hesitation jumps directly in there.
Things are looking pretty good, though, so far for Threats and Buddha over at Sanguine Sweets. It does seem as though they managed to get their way into the vault. That kind of Stinger SMG certainly going to come play a pretty big part there for Threats whenever they do decide to engage. And a few more battles later on. Clownsky and Grolls, though, a team that we really saw in quite the position last game. It was really their surge strategy that seemed to be a little bit lacking in game number 2. So now the mentality here for Grolls and Clownsky, if they want to find some points, want to work their way up even further on that leaderboard, just try and cement themselves into that top 25, but they've got to work through some other teams before they can find themselves there.
Yeah, and work through those crash pads as well. Having them work against them for a second there, so Clownsky couldn't unfortunately join Grolls on the push to the top, so cost them a fair bit there, but all in all, they have things under control.
A good height positioning, at least. That can definitely help a lot as far as establishing some surge damage is concerned. Meanwhile, inside of Rumble Ruins, you got Rabab Axe Force hiding inside of a bush, and a pretty common strategy as well for players to look for those tag opportunities with some of that safety inside of the bush.
Yeah, now that single Elim right there is onto Cooper. I know we're just hyping up Miro and Cooper's big eliminations they picked up, but look, Miro's now by himself in the distance there, so Cooper caught off guard out in the open there and away from his teammate. Here we get to see Heroics Thomas and Malabuka. They are up, they are standing, which means they have survived the drop clearly, and they are working their way towards the grand finals here and now.
Massive stuff though for Malabuka and Thomas, given that they had to sit out for game number 2 because of Kanata and Ager.
Right.
So for them to be able to play makeup time now, just adding to their total point count for the day. Because again, we are in game 3 of 5. So this is, I think, technicality of the halfway mark for a lot of these teams, and this is where you can really start to see the consistency that needs to be maintained come into play.
Yeah, one might say this is the most important game of the tournament here. Between game 1 and game 3, I mean, either you set yourself up for success or you turn things around now and come out a victor. And by that, I just mean top 25, right? That is the goal today. And then, of course, Sunday, get as high as possible, make as much money. Be that $1 million first place prize. Here we got Pink and Vico. I know we're hyping them up. Definitely a team that has had a lot of success. Although, again, playing off the scrappy drop, but look, they find themselves finally fighting Acorn and Cold.
True, but they had CalGamer and 7man also on the opposite end of them. It seemed as though they were kind of sandwiched in that position. So, might be a very tough circumstance for them to actually work around in as well. You're in the heart of Mega City. You got Flixie way up top on the building. Grippe seems as though they had a successful battle because Flixie with one elimination looked as if he just got the opportunity to revive Grippe there as well. But now from this aerial point of view, opportunities to use these grind rails if necessary for a quicker rotation, but Mega City seems to be relatively safe for the time being. And the way Flixie keeps looking down leads me to believe that he's got some form of idea that Suns and Anon are the team directly below him.
Just outside of the Mega City, King and Phaser Cam here. Very interesting. They've had a very long track from the Relentless Retreat till here. No elims just yet, but this is a perfect time to go ahead and catch up 11, so let's hear the word.
Thank you, Mon. So like you see, no elims. We obviously saw at the start of the day, CalGamer had a lot to say about Phaser and King's ability. He thought he weren't too good. And King said the same. He thinks they're not as good as they say they are. But these two teams have been going head-to-head. Not full engagement, but still both teams looking to try and set up for fights where possible. We see them sort of pinching and peeking towards each other at times. And what's happening is that they're both disengaging, right? Neither team currently sit in that top 25. So one of these two teams is going to have to start to step it up if either of them are going to be making out of Relentless Retreat and making that vote useful.
Thanks so much, Levin, for that breakdown on whether or not it's going to be CalGamer 7-man or King and Phaser. That's going to be the team that finally breaks through from that initial drop spot engagement. But again, with teams just actively choosing to disengage, have to believe that part of that reason is because they don't want to risk being early eliminated in match 3. Acorn cold though. They've got some eliminations on the mind because they want Pink and Vico if they can find it. Cold now applying some pressure onto the backside here. Pink and Vico certain to have to keep an eye out for it. Cold though just continuing to move around some of these top tier builds. And Acorn, cold. Slight lull in the action. They try to make sure that their approach is as methodical as possible here at Frenzy Fields.
And of this duo here, the highlight player was definitely Acorn in match number 2, where he really went the distance in the end when it mattered, but I'm sure if he can do it one more time, it should be all but solidified inside that top 25. This has been a great showing so far. And again, contested. Half the loot he would expect, half of what he would really want. So to take out Pink and Vico, to send them into the lobby, to not see them on Sunday would be excellent. They could make a run as grand champions.
But what's interesting is that at Frenzy, keep in mind, CalGamer and 7-man were there as well, but they weren't when we last checked in this channel. So have to imagine that CalGamer 7-man recognizing, hey, this just isn't the type of engagement we want to take right now, just like iDrop as a solo, trying to see if he can gather anything from Rift Island. If he's able to get this capture point uncontested as a solo, that will be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and you know, it's worth 15 points, so it's definitely the position you want to jockey for. Not a single other team has decided that they want to come up here. This could be his lucky, graceful moment here, but no, there is a duo just above them. Could iDrop build a big enough base here to buy him some of a flex? Potentially. Oh no, it seems like the team's actually underneath. Okay, but we jump in with Queasy. Queasy's hurt here. Vino, pretty healthy. They have to double down alongside one another. It's Kylie and Fastroki. Kylie and Fastroki went south this game, had success down there, and now, because of that, inevitably, it puts them on the pathway, the war path of Vino and Queasy.
That was a big shot, though, that Kylie just landed on. Vino took down his shield almost entirely, though. Vino's going to have to pause for a moment, utilize one of those legendary switches to make sure that he has ample HP to actually take this engagement. It's Kylie now looking for where he wants to try and make this finalized approach, but doesn't realize Veno's managed to sneak up behind him. And Veno making sure to return the favor of damage done. Queasy as well, starting to create a little bit of a separation here, starting to see whether or not he could try and pressure on the other side of these builds from Veno. It's a nice pressure application from this duo. All they've got to do now is finish it.
Vino making Monaco very proud here so far for the upper bracket. This fight now approaching that time where you start to think, how worth it is it? Can we get out of here safe and sound? Is there an exit plan for us? You have to assume they're feeling the same way. Yup, the demeanor says so, and we call it just right. They want to get out of there as much as we want to see them rotate, so on they go. Meanwhile, the same can be said about Pink and Vico. I'm sure they're thinking, okay, what's the game plan here? Acorn and Code know better, but at the same time, Acorn and Code are in such a better position. It's in their best interest to actually stay here, hold them out.
And not only that,
the team they want to take out.
Exactly. Plus, Pink, we saw his builds just now in comparison to Cold. It is a night and day difference. I mean, Cold with 90 builds to still work through. Meanwhile, Pink, I believe last checked in, he had around like 16, 18. That's practically nothing. They've invested so much time here now that they don't really have another option other than to close this fight out because they need the materials, they need the refresh off of Cold and Acorn.
Acorn, Cold, but Cold gets him in the box and puts down the other as well. Pink and Vico shut down and sent back to the lobby. And that is the best team for them to eliminate. They already have pretty much top 25 now sealed in the bag. They were in third place coming into this, picking up these elims here. It was so good to kind of run it back one more time. Boxes him up, finishes him off. This is how excellent Cold is in the pocket. Well played.
Just did not seem as though Pink and Vico were ready to tackle Cold from that position, but being towards that Frenzy field side, they're going to have a great opportunity now for Acorn and Cold to make an approach towards the zone from the dead side rotation, so curious to see how that actually pans out for them later on. But as for Rise and Iamzo, solid as ever in terms of applying damage.
They're also the only team that finished top 5 in every major of the 3 majors. That is an exceptional position to put yourself in, really showing how flexible they are season to season. It also shows you they might just be the team this weekend. They might just be that team, but let's jump into the action here. Malibuca hurt, 3 HP, forced down, and the pressure unrelentless. Coming in from the Middle Eastern team, Rapid here, really pushing back. They've already claimed Thomas. Malibuca wants nothing of that. The ME boy says, hey, listen, you're up. Sit down. We got this.
Absolutely insane, though, just how quickly Malibuca was able to escape from that position, because it really looked as if Giovanni and Rapid were about to finish off this duo. But with Thomas being out of the picture, Malibuca, granted, we know that he's capable of making those solo clutch circumstances happen, but with so many power hitters left in this lobby as a team, that solo spot not looking the best.
Vanyat, Karmi, absolutely scary, scary duo right here. Some of EU's greatest. Very hard-working duo here. Takes the Teeny. Teeny and Misha just haven't caught a break here. Rotating all the way down from the north side. Coming up short here now. Fragmented apart. Misha is looking to replenish himself here, but the Storm Surge is active. And Vanyat just says, hey, you know what? I want nothing to do with this. It's already looking pretty tough. I'm going to just go ahead and rotate on out of here. They're going to crash pad their way across, and that should be all she wrote.
And
nice,
to be fair,
effective rotate.
It's a lot of map to cover, though, for some of those north side teams. The way that things have been breaking down, but still, Vanyat and Karmi, again, doing a great job utilizing those crash pads. Cammy and Seti together as a duo, that's something that we haven't really seen too much of at this point in the game. Curious to see how their end game goes now that they're both up and running.
They're checking bushes, they're looking around, they're trying to see who is lingering about. They already have themselves their 3rd elimination, and they're sitting on top of the loot. So this is a full-on refresh for someone who was up on high ground here. So this is an excellent find for them. Meanwhile, looking at the top 5 here, Ritual and Reet are leading the charge by a fair margin. The only team on their heels now, Cold and Acorn, as Geras and Shari have been sent back to the lobby. But again, if you take a win right now, I mean, you have just about done enough. It'd be hard-pressed for you not to get out of the upper bracket and go straight to finals with a victory.
Yeah, we're definitely starting to see a pretty big point disparity from our top 10 to even our top 20 competitors. Group A and Flixe, though, one more time. Another revive. It's going to have to go through, but this time it's going to be Group A. turning the favor onto his teammate Flixie. But that med missed as well. Seems Flixie is going to be just fine for the time being, but they've still got to keep pushing forward. They still got to keep trying to move in, try and stay ahead of these zones wherever possible. But 2 revives into the match already, Monster. You can tell that they're definitely having some tough times with making these rotations.
And I know we're jumping in with Monaco's Mustache and Falcon Tayson here, but I want to give a lot of credit to Baka and Pars, who have a great position over the lobby right now. A bird's eye view, they are one of the few teams poised up for potential high ground, and they have just continued to show us what they are made of. They are now officially slipped their way into top 5, really working their way up. But hold up, Tayson's got a lot of problems knocking on his door. Ping has got knocked in the mix there, so while he was focused on Tayson, other teams started to look inwards, and I'm not sure Tayson understands that there was a down body there.
Or maybe he did and might be interested in trying to pursue it.
Let's think about it.
Kyrie hoping he can get
seeing
in time, but it's going to be too much from Tayson. Interruption on that revive now. It's Tayson and Mustache seeing if they can finish what somebody else had started. They managed to get the material refresh, the item refresh as well if they wanted. There for the taking. Tayson will swap out for that double legendary slurp juices. But Mustache and Tayson still powering through some of these builds that have already been pre-established here, and that's just a freebie for them.
Yeah, it's all in all a net positive. You get the damage that you need. You start inching your way towards this endgame, then looks like it is going to be a Slappy Shores finish here. It's going just outside the mountain there. Vino's already marked up the position they want to be in. It's that natural high ground on the backside here, the ice capsule. But again, Baka Pars looking downwards on them, putting that infinite upwards pressure here, not making it look easy at all here. He's going to have to scoot for a bit. It's cost him a lot. He's going to have to take some of Vino's inventory as well. So Vino trusting in Queasy to lead the rotate here.
It's all about that middle, though, at this point for Queasy, especially when you know that you're having some pressure being applied to you from the high ground. The more durable your builds, the better. As far as understanding, though, which way he wants to tarp Queasy, recognizing the fact that he's got his chance right now to just keep building up. And again, with it being metal, it's second to try and chop them out just yet. Queasy gonna look for the connect onto some of these other builds, but down ever so slightly, still maintaining the height overall, though.
That's what they do best. Limited builds to just get there, connects it to a structure in the distance, but Cammy and Seti are looking backwards and they're saying, no, not today, not in this lobby. I want to fight for it as well. We need a big game here. We need it now. And all of a sudden now they are the most resistant on the front side of the zone here. But if they don't put pressure back, we know what's going to happen. Vino, Queasy will run with this.
Seti and Cammy aren't careful. Keep in mind where their builds were starting to go towards. I mean, with the direction that Queasy's headed, at least, it almost seems as though they might headbutt each other on the high ground at the moment here. But it's Acorn, a bit sneaky with the crash pad. But he's continuing to hang around. He wants that front side of the zone, but hanging just on the edge of it.
And I just love how we're seeing, again, NA's best and EU's best, right? Back to back here, 2 different perspectives, 2 totally different layers. Acorn and Cold, again, just excellent low ground teams playing to what they play best, and they're doing it well here. Meanwhile, you do, of course, have your other teams fighting for height, so an excellent play to watch unfold here, but we jump into Pars, and end game from Pars here, too. No Baka. The least amount of elims we've seen so far, but it is a single one, so far of the 3, they've put up numbers every time. Now we jump in with Muzz and Paper, turning online right now, 6 eliminations. Could this be their game? One big pop-up will put you up in that top 25, surely.
It's been a relatively quiet day for Muzz and Paper so far, so this could be a massive moment if they're able to seize it. Sitting on the low ground, though, Acorn and Cold. They can tell there's players trying to make their way around the edges next to them. 2 crash pads remain here at Acorn's disposal. Cold following closely behind. Cammy and Seti, though, they seem to be making an idea all their own.
Oh, this is crazy. From the backside here, they find the tags, and Vino's hurt. And this might be the new high ground. Cammy, Seti coming in out of nowhere, and they swing things around. Queasy's hurt. Vino's fully healthy, but no! Things change so quickly. Acorn and Cold finish him. And now Queasy's by himself, but it's still excellent endgame for them. They're going to be happy with a top 10. Meanwhile, Paper and Muzz continue to force their way in here. 8 elims now, probably the most that are alive at the moment. Trailing behind another team, and Paper's going to fall there.
And unfortunately, Muzz to follow suit, but Merstash still up and kicking. Seti, though, with a massive hit, and that's the back-to-backs now. Onto Robov with the materials refresh. It might not do him any good. He's not able to break into the zone in time. Acorn instead will be here to play cutoff, as now Merstash forced underneath it all. Larkpix as well, living as a solo. This is looking like Acorn and Cold's game for the taking.
And Acorn's doing an excellent job pressuring with the breach of shotgun, making sure no one's got a chance to breathe, but Larkpix is still going. He's found 2. That's 11 eliminations for Larkpix in the low. But NA takes the game. Acorn and Cold, the shrug.
He's making it look like it's exactly his plan. It's just too easy if you're Acorn and Cold. But the best part still is that moments away from figuring out just how the day is actually going to wind up. And we've got our very own Frankie down on the floor to see what they have to say.
I do. I'm so excited to talk to these guys because they're known for one of the most consistent placements in all of the games that they play, and you haven't disappointed us so far. What's it like, Cole, taking a victory royale on day 1 here in Copenhagen?
I don't know. It's an insane feeling. I mean, this guy's just, I don't know. This guy's on something else. Like, this guy's the best player, I think, in the series.
Yeah, doing it for Canada. We saw you in the air, nearly clutching the victory royale in the previous game, and now you've taken it one step further. For you, is it a bit of a dream to perform so well so early in the competition?
Of course. I mean, like, getting ahead early is always the best, and no pressure now, you know?
Yeah, you're not feeling the pressure. You're pretty set on Sunday already. Why do you think you are able so frequently to take down the competition?
I mean, I'm just playing with the best player. It's not that hard.
You have been preparing for this all year long. You qualified way back in Major 1. How do you feel like the game and the way you've had to play it has changed over the past year?
I mean, everything's changed, you know. We kind of did good in the beginning, then we had a little downfall, and everything's changing, but we're adapting pretty well.
You say downfall, what do you mean by downfall? Because you did place top 10 in all 3 majors in North America this year that you played. So for you, what's a bad day?
Anything under first.
Anything under first. Well, it's looking like you're probably going to have a very good day. Now, I've got to send back to the desk very quickly, though, before I do. Akon said such nice things about you, Cole. Have you got a message for him?
This guy is actually the best IG on the game. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. This guy just, his brain is just, no one can compete.
Well, I can hear Akon saying, stop, stop, stop over there. So I will stop on your behalf and we'll head back to the desk.
Big congratulations to Acorn and Cold finding themselves the victory royale. Now, before we continue, quick shout outs to Vivid and Levin, who will be hanging out with us on the analyst desk here for the remainder of the day. My, oh my. Sometimes I didn't expect any duo to win a game in this fashion, and that it looked so easy.
That game was a roller coaster, and for multiple reasons, really. And, you know, when we tune into the Global Championships, the one thing that obviously everybody is excited about is the clash of playstyles, the best at what they do. And throughout this game, you know, we saw a couple of height changes between, you know, arguably the best height team in the world, Squeezy and Venom. And then I was like, oh, look at this, Acorn and Cold. They're on the low ground. That's exactly where they thrive. And then, yeah, they ended up on the high ground to win the game.
Yeah, that's what I've been looking at, Vivid, right? You're looking at the teams and seeing if the things that they do so well in their region, can that translate here on the global stage? For Cold and Acorn, the answer is absolutely yes. They have been dominating on these layers. And I think the big thing here is that, you know, you look at these guys, they're clearly in their element, they're feeling so confident. Cold, when he's at his best, what a player. I honestly, it's almost hard to describe the levels, right? Major 1, when they won the FNCS in their region, I genuinely think that peak that Cold had hit as a player individually, one of the best we've ever seen from anybody, right? He was just on a whole different level, and he's showing that here today, right now.
I could not agree with you more. Now, what I'm curious about are the standings. Let's take a look together. Let's see how things are unfolding. Remember, we're trying to end the day in the top 25, go straight through to Sunday. Acorn and Cold here in that
Vamos.
spot. Breaking 2.
Tiene que terminar el evento.
This is day 1, guys. Save some for Sunday.
This is what I love to see, you know. I gave a little bit of a sneak peek at
Ya, que termine.
and it was Acorn and Gold. It was the NA boys, and I'm very happy to see them up there. This honestly
No tengo tanto tiempo,
right? We got to remember that they're contestants, so now they can play a little bit more aggressive in that sense.
Yeah, if you're Pink and Biko, you're looking at these guys going, hold on a minute, we are letting them run away with things. We need to maybe think about putting a bit more pressure on them, making these games a bit more difficult for them. I'm personally looking at some of the players beneath them, right? Queasy and Veno just below. We saw how hot they started the day. They're going to be looking above them thinking, okay, you know, these guys are setting the tempo, but we're going to do our thing up on height while they do their thing down below. It's been really Queasy and Veno especially, right? Because we're seeing them so consistently going into these endgames in positions to play our height very, very well, right? You know, it's typical
Gente,
stuff.
quedan
But having a
15
couple of games, right, where a bunch of their other
minutitos.
easy compatriots are very much making things difficult for them, right? Seti and Cammy flanking them in that last game. Typically, Queasy and Veno very aware of their flanks. That's not something that they often get caught out at. But this time around, we're seeing what happens. Seti and Cammy are there waiting for them.
Gosh, I always have to have so much respect for Cammy and Seti, right? Because I was honestly looking at their position, and it was as that 7th zone rotate was coming in. They were actually towards that castle split. They were based up on top, and I was like, wow, they're on the high ground. They have a very good position. And then next zone shows.
Pero este ni siquiera es Midas. Tú ni siquiera eres Midas.
And look at this.
Estafador.
Every single time, and in such good fashion. I mean, you mentioned it. We've seen Veno. You're usually aware of their flank. How did Cammy and Seti pull this off?
And it's not just playing it off, right? When they're actually in the position, delivering, being able then to actually, you know, hit the shots. Of course, they did get chopped out on height eventually, right? It was Acorn and Cole that did that so well. But I think the big thing with Cammy and Seti is obviously we saw how they started the day. And I think it's fair to say they brushed the dust off their shoulders, right? They didn't allow, you know, losing off spawn early on to sort of derail their competition. They understood, hey, look, we just got to stick to the fundamentals, get back in the game. We can beat these guys off spawn, and now they are delivering in the game.
And one more point here about Cammy and Seti. We talked about the all-spawn situation with Acorn and Cold. Now it's similar for Cammy and Seti, right? They're pretty chilling when it comes to the points.
Just wild. And to think this all began like their day started with basically no points on the board, right? And their counterparts, getting the Victor Royale. And now they're sitting there attacking them on high ground. This is the story we all came here to see. At least I did. Right into the loving embrace, of course, of Acorn and Cold. Like, yes, bring me points. That's what we want today.
Oh, mira, le están haciendo autógrafos. Y son niñitos. Pero no todos. No, espera, sí son niños, amigos. Igual que yo. Solo que, amigo, te estaría ser un pro player ahí, pero que debería ser un poco adulto, ¿no? No adolescente o adulto, no sé. De las dos cosas. Sí, amigo, debe ser un poco adulto y adolescente. O sea, 28 podría ser años. Pero debería ser pro haciendo así. Así. Y soy pro player. Para entrar ahí. Solo pueden entrar pro players. Yo moriría ahí 500 veces.
We're just gonna crash that and go. Not now though, but like on the roof. Ready? You're gonna jump on the ramp.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just gonna slide.
Yeah, I hit it. We're good.
Just gonna run left, run left. Going deeper. All too low ground. I built the box for you as well.
Nice, bro. Pretty good job. Big heavy.
Are you good?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Good luck right here, look here, look here.
120, 120, break. 20 car, got it.
I got it. I'm PC for that one.
Low PC.
There.
I mean, I just have to say it. Every single time I get to hear these guys call, Acorn and Cold are so composed, so chill. You'd never think they're sitting at a LAN, you know, the biggest LAN that there is to play, you know, playing one of the most difficult lobbies. They're just there chilling.
I think what impresses me the most, if you look at literally any esport, doesn't matter which one, have your pick. Professional comms sound like that. There's a lot of things you could have been calling out. Both of them, though, just sat there. They only called out what was most vital. The most critical thing in that moment, the moment they find a moment to strike, it's like, okay, let's let's actually communicate in this moment and get done what we need to do. That's crazy.
I love watching, honestly, the professional players that play at this level. Because, you know, we're thinking about the meta, and we have the mini crash pads, they're out now. But it's not a lot of mobility, right? So you have to save a lot of your materials. And the way that some of these pro players do it, we saw it right there where they were kind of talking through that rotate. They're kind of just running in the open a lot of the times, not building. But they find those timings, and that's why they're so good.
And big props once again to Acorn, right? This is a player who you see how Cold is talking about him as an IGL, saying this guy's brain is unmatched. You know, he's the best player, whatnot. Earlier this year, right, when they didn't do as well during Major 2, there were doubts within their relationship, right? You know, conversations about them potentially splitting up, and I had the chance to speak to Acorn about it, and he said, look, hands up, that Major was my fault. I was not up to par, I was not up to standard, but I'm going to fix that. Okay. And I think it's safe to say he's fixed it, right? You know, you see the way they're playing right now, and things are clearly in a much better place. They're clearly much more confident in each other, and that's always the key, right? You have to be able to trust your teammates if you're going to have success in a competition like this.
That is why me and Vivid are good at Fortnite when we play Zero Build.
Fortnite.
Trust Vivid completely.
No mames, mira un tipo con skin de Travis Scott. ¿Qué se cree el tipo?
Obviously, y'all at home, I know I could use some help, but something that we kind of saw it.
Uy, Morales, amigo, no puedo creerlo. No entiendo por qué siempre quieren utilizar la skin de Miles Morales para presumir ahí, para saber que, ay, mira, este tipo tiene esa skin, es bueno, tiene esa skin, es bueno porque tiene el Travis Scott. Solo lo que lo hace bien es la jugabilidad, no la skin. Pero vamos a ir viendo. 9 minutos ya es mucho, tengo que termine.
Every single game, they're going to make sure that they base up on those 5-round positions to make sure that any of the players rotating to the center of the map, which, by the way, a lot of players like to rotate to the center of the map, and make sure they get all the tags necessary for their Storm Surge.
And I think an interesting thing to note, and it's big props to read here, when you typically look at discussions around Storm Surge and the ability for people to be effective in tags, you often go, look, controller players, it's a lot harder, right? Long distance, like Amos is aiming strong. Reed making it look easy, hitting every single shot, bang, 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 bang. You don't care. He's hitting everything, right? And so, big props to Reed. That's not easy to do, especially under the pressure as well. We're at the Global Championships once and for all. So I think for him to be doing as well as he is right now, says a lot about him as a player.
Good shout. Absolutely. You guys are killing. You guys are great. I love y'all. All right, actually, why don't we go ahead and check out the Creator Lounge? Kelly Link is standing by with a very special creator. Who are you with, Kelly?
Thank you so much, Zeke. And I am here with someone very special. It is Keep Up Radio. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're 3 games down, 2 to go. What has been your experience so far?
Oh my gosh, I've been having the best time, I think, just coming to IRL events and seeing the players play and the crowd get so excited and crazy. It's the best experience, for sure.
And what has it been like interacting with all the creators here in the Creator Lounge?
It's been so fun. Shout out to Reddit, shout out to Peach, my people. I love getting to see the people that I interact with online IRL as well. It's really fun.
Well, if we're going to talk about your people, then we got to talk about your favorite team as well. Who is it?
Okay, so I came in not really knowing who I wanted to root for, but Cold and Acorn have like stolen my heart. I'm rooting for them. Let's go.
Oh, then you must feel really good. Just them walking away in Game 3 with that victory royale.
I know, it was so exciting. I was like getting a touch up right before, and I'm trying to look over like, oh my gosh, they finally won, so exciting. So I'm excited to see what they do for the rest of the games.
And I'm so excited to hear about what you do with all this Fortnite music. What is the process for creating these incredible songs?
Yeah, it's so fun. I really just try to take pop culture.
Songs es canción, entonces canciones de Fortnite. Pero estáis jugando demasiado con esa cosa.
You can find me on as Keep Up Radio everywhere. And can I just say one more thing?
Yes, of course. Oh my God, thank you again so much. And guys, back to you on the desk.
Go Tilted.
Go Tilted. Go Tilted. Go Tilted. Shout out to you, Keep Up Radio.
Están bailando, adiós. Hagan el Justin Dance, el Orange Justice, el baile de los Speakermans. así el del Justicia Naranja, pues ese baile es bueno. El del niño de la camiseta naranja. Es.
On the screen. I know the M8 audience up there every single time they're on the screen. They've been going crazy. So shout out to everybody that's here.
Yeah, nah, the atmosphere's been unbelievable. I think, you know, we've got more days of this, right? Coming. We got Saturday, we got Sunday. It's gonna get.
Gente, voy a estar esperando.
I'm very much excited about. But you know, even in the server, right, in the game, the players have been delivering, man. I think when you have a competition like this where you have the stakes set so high, you know we're expecting the big names to come out, but they're actually giving us performances, you know, that match up to the status they have. It is a special day. So I think looking at all the players, hopefully these last two games continue to deliver in that regard. I saw the leaderboard was looking a bit too NA for my liking. So hopefully some more big EU teams can sneak their way up there. But of course, this is, you know, the upper bracket day. The more important day will be the grand finals to see my EU boys up there.
Yeah, no bias at all. No bias.
No, 100% bias. No, of course. Fully biased.
And I'm sure you guys are wondering, what's up with this longer break? Well, keep in mind we're halfway through the day, so we have to get the players.
Ok, bro, tengo que esperar 5 minutos. Qué harto.
In these next couple of games, Frankie is actually standing by right here, right now, with Miro and Cooper.
I am, and this is such an impressive duo because they came together for Major 2 and currently in 24th position on the leaderboard. And Cooper, this is your first round. Are you happy with how things are going so far?
Oh, gente, se hace baile mientras eso.
But for my first round, I can't complain. You know, I'm having a good time, and I hope we do better.
So how come you've become this fresh-faced IGL that everyone is saying such great things about, given that this is your first LAN?
Starting an IGL role is really hard for me, but I think playing with Mero also, being a great teammate, I think I've improved drastically, and I hope I do better. Yeah, I hope I do good.
Why did you want to become an IGL?
Being a fragger, I feel like I never wanted to get IGL. I wanted to just kind of take terms of being the leader in a duo, and I just got lucky to play with the best fragger, so.
Well, I should talk to that best fragger now. Mira, I apologize for leaving you out in the cold as I've spoken to your teammate for so long. But you are regarded as a veteran. This is not your first rodeo. Why did you want to compete here with Cooper?
I think he's a good teammate. He's always grinding the game. You know, that's really about it, honestly. He's just fun to play with, good teammate. And I don't know, we kind of have like a lot in common in terms of like interests and stuff, so he's like easy to talk to about things and like music and all that. So it's just easy, you know?
Have you got a warm-up song that you listen to before you go on stage?
Ski by Sexy Red.
I do not know the song, but that is because I'm not as cool as you two are. So what's the strategy now? How are you going to regroup to try and guarantee that spot in Sunday's grand final today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to get DQ'd, but I feel like I really haven't had a fair chance of playing Fortnite yet, and I think that we just need a little bit more luck on our side, and we're going to be fine.
Okay, well, hopefully the luck will be on your side. Thank you so much for talking to me, gentlemen. I'll let you go and get some food, and I am going to bring in a Londoner. In fact, our only Londoner on LAN, so therefore I'm slightly biased because I'm from London too, if you hadn't noticed by the accent. Pink, currently 29th on the leaderboard. How are you finding things in Copenhagen so far?
I'm finding it good. Despite our placement, I think we're not playing the best, but I'm finding it good, yeah.
Why do you think you're not playing the best yet?
Game 1 we played well. Game 2, there was a minor error making the whole game go to waste. But then Game 3, obviously, contested by Acorn. He was already qualified in 2 games, so he dedicated Game 3 to grief us. So I think we'll continue to do that for Game 4 and Game 5, but that's what happened so far.
Are you thinking you can grief back then? How are you going to respond to this? Because you're not the kind of guy who's going to back down and fight.
I mean, at this point they're qualified, so no matter what we do, they're through to the next round anyways. So it's more so a thing where I've got to let go of the grudge and just focus on ourselves for now.
They're not in your head?
No, not at all.
And how are you finding things with Vico? Because you're a relatively new duo, you came together for Major number 3 and you pulled off what you needed to do to make it to Globals. But this was a surprising duo in some ways. So why do you think it's managed to come together so quickly?
I've been very tough with Vico, and he's like, at the start he was a bit annoying, I'd say, but more so now he's more so making me proud. So I think we're a good duo. We complement each other well, and I like playing with him.
He's a really aggressive player. How did you manage to stop him pressing W in every situation?
I had to fake drop him, I've had to scream a lot, I've had to do a lot of things. I've kind of mentored him in a way, but yeah.
Pink, I'm looking for a coach, so I don't know if we can. Once you're done with globals, you've got the spare time with your hands. Are you taking new clients on?
No.
Well, it's a great excuse. It's a great excuse. Darn it. But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I'll just go solo. Thank you so much for talking to me, Pink, and we will see you out on Battle Pass. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for those interviews for the players. Pink is always one that's very honest, Levin. He's going to tell you what's on his mind, and there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
Yeah, honesty is the best policy. You know, I wouldn't have it any other way. You want people to lie to you? Would I ever lie to you? That's not I never lied. I never lied to you. Look, the one thing I'd say about Pink, right, and Vico is they're in a very tough spot. Because, like you just said, Acorn and Cold, they're basically qualified now, right? They could, not play the rest of the games, and they'll be good to move through to the finals. These guys aren't, right? And so if you're Acorn and Cold and these guys are contesting you, you're going to make their life as difficult as possible. You're going to make sure you can do whatever it takes to guarantee they don't have a chance to contest you come grand final time. So if I was Pink and Vico, I'd be not worried per se, because, this is not a guy that's ever going to be worried, but I would start to be a bit concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely bring up some very valid points, but I think if anything has been proven by some of these performances so far, one good game, right? One victory route with a couple eliminations is worth enough points, 100%, to fly up that leaderboard. So they just got to win that spawn fight one more time.
Do you think they do that, though? Is that the play, trying to kind of keep rolling the dice? Is it just let's find somewhere else, or let's just disengage? What do you guys think?
So it's interesting, right? Because Pink is a player that's very experienced when it comes to being contested, right? You look back all the way to Chapter 3 Season 2, I believe it was contested by Mustache and Malabuko, and they were playing together, and they, were unbelievable, right? And I remember Pink saying to me, I've never experienced that off spawn, right? And they got demolished back then when he was playing with Anas, but he learned a lesson, right? He learned what it takes to be a good off-spawn team, and he said to me he had a lot of those sort of similar strategies coming in to try and use against Acorn and Cold, and so maybe now we start to see him start to whip out some of the things he maybe would have wanted to save for grand finals, but use them now to secure a spot for final.
Good stuff. They are sitting there on the bubble, 29th place. Remember, top 25 will be the ones to move on to Sunday's finals. Now, if you find themselves at the bottom 25, they still have tomorrow. Obviously, not the best situation to find themselves in. Vivid right now, Levin makes a great point. If they're kind of pulling out some of these strategies, they might have to. Yes, it very well could get them to Sunday, but if it doesn't, that means that they're going to go into tomorrow's lower bracket, and those 25 players will have watched this. They will have known, okay, well, this is what they're looking to do.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting situation. I don't think anybody wants to be in the situation that they are in right now. But listen, we're at the Global Championships, right? These teams are here for a reason. If 2 games is what it takes for them to actually go through the finals, I guarantee you that they are very, very well capable of it.
Yeah, 100%, right? Again, it is just a matter of doing what they were able to do in that first game, right? He said it himself, that first game, if it was good, they were in the game. They looked good. They looked like a team that was going to continue throughout the day to have pop-offs, but unfortunately hasn't panned out that way, right? Have to get back to what that was in game 1, and I think it's very possible for this team.
Yeah, so you kind of just touched on, you guys are just hitting me with the razzle-dazzle right now. That's what you do. This is the Global Championships, okay? We're looking for the best duo in the world. There cannot be any question. There has to be a duo that steps up and says, we are definitively better than everybody else. So I feel like at this point in time, we can be a bit more critical about some of these things, right? And we kind of have to be, We can't just say, well, this is a major, you've got weeks 2, week 3, you'll go to, we'll see you in Grands, it's fine. No, this is the end of the line.
You know what? Levin said it. Honesty is the best policy, right? So I'm going to talk about one of the favorites here, right? We took a look at a little bit of the bubble right there, and I saw 23rd place. Thomas, HD, and Malabuka. That is not a very comfortable spot to be.
Not at all. Not at all. And then obviously, when you are the favorite, there's pressure that comes with that. You've got this crowd here that's making all this noise for you. If you are Thomas, HD, and Malabuka, you have to start thinking about, okay, how do we get back into this, right? I think a lot of people saw them as a favorite coming into this competition because they are so good. But things haven't been easy, right? The Canada versus an Aegis off-spawn battle hasn't been the simplest of equations for them to solve. And even, beyond that, right? Actually, when they are getting to play out games, the formula, it's not quite clicking, it's not quite working.
That's right. Well, I'm getting word, as much as I'd love to continue this conversation, games are ready to go. So let's kick it up to the casters to get us prepped.
We are here. This is game 4 about to get underway. And I want to give a huge shout out to Kit. Let's go ahead and go to the battle bus because the game starts now. What I was gonna say is a shout out to Cammy and Seti. They had a little bit of a rough start to start the day, but they have shown it just takes one big game to get yourself inside of that top 25. And this being game 4, with only one game left after this, there's only a few spots left for those bubble teams to grab.
And we're looking at a team that definitely needs a good matchup for things to start picking up for them. Podesai, Snazy, starting to get some shots from the sky, but here at the racetrack, we've watched this for 3 games now. 2-1 in favor of Thomas and Malabuka. Kanata trying to see what he can do. It's a double fire, but Thomas, for the time he's gonna go down. Kanata and Agers looking like they could be in a decent position here, but it's Malabuka on the wraparound of the reboot band, trying to make sure that he can keep Thomas and his own hopes alive for this game number 4. Agers, Kanata so incredibly low, but Malabuka down a half HP. Now jumping on top of the building, and the reboot band just barely keeping the hope alive for Kanata and Agers.
Oh, this is gonna be a big save. His chance to get his HP back, and it down onto Kanata. He has no ammo left. This could be huge if Agers could just find a way to just push up, finish this off, but it's Malabuka who does it yet again.
One of the few times where a tactical DMR is going to look like the saving grace here for Malabuka. Thomas as well with the immediate dap up onto his boy, and for good reason, because this score, it's already being telegraphed. 3-1 now in favor of Thomas and Kanata, and keep in mind, Thomas and Malabuka, but for Agers and Kanata, they're literally in 35th place, and that's bound to get pushed even further back now.
That's where you start to feel the nerves, and you feel like you're in the danger zone. We got Cal Gamer, 7-man, going up against King and Phaser Kami yet again. And this is where it's going to get heated up. He gets a little bit of a first strike, but doesn't really take advantage of it. And a quick reposition out of King and Phaser. This is exactly what you have to do, but the rift does go off. They're trying to reposition and try to have some claim towards that high ground, but they're not able to do too much. They have to concede relentless retreat in order to stay alive.
Right idea, though. Sometimes you just know when a fight isn't yours to make happen, and
Gente, ya me tengo que ir ya.